So our today's topic for class 11th zoology is cilia and flagella. Cilia and flagella. So as you may be remembering, last time we discussed about centrioles. These cilia and flagella, they are characterized by a microtubular arrangement of 9 plus 0. Sorry, centrioles were having 9 plus 0. Cilia and flagella have 9 plus 2 microtubular arrangement. Last time we discussed about centrioles. They had microtubular arrangement of 9 plus 0. And cilia and flagella, they are characterized by a microtubular arrangement of 9 plus 2, right? These cilia and flagella, they are structurally similar. They are structurally similar. Both of them are having 9 plus 2 microtubular arrangement. But they also differ in certain aspects, right? So first of all, these cilia and flagella, they were discovered first by Engelmann. Cilia and flagella were reported first time by Engelmann in 1868, right? These cilia and flagella, structurally they are similar, but they have also some differences. So first we will look at the differences between cilia and flagella. How do they differ from each other? So we will write cilia here and flagella here. So first, when we look at the size of cilia and flagella, we see the difference. Cilia, they are short in size. They are short in size. They measure just 2 to 20 microns in length. They are just 2 to 20 microns long, right? As compared to cilia, flagella are very long. They are longer in size. They measure some 10 to 200 microns in length. They measure some 10 to 200 microns in length, right? So cilia are short, flagella are long. The length of cilia is 2 to 20 microns. The length of flagella is 10 to 200 microns. This is the first difference. The number of cilia per cell is enormous. There may be 30 to 14,000 cilia per cell. So cilia are present in large numbers on a cell, right? Flagella, their number is restricted in eukaryotic cells. In eukaryotic cells, there may be 1 to 4 flagella per cell only. There may be 1 to 4 flagella per cell only, right? So cilia, they are larger in number. There may be some 30 to 1400 cilia per cell, while as flagella, their number is restricted. There may be just 1 to 4 flagella per cell in eukaryotes, right? Cilia, they are present all over the cell. They may be present all over the cell. Or they may be present on major portion of the cell. Cilia may be present all over the cell. They may be found all around the cell. For example, in case of paramecium. Paramecium is surrounded on all sides by cilia, right? Or in certain cases, the cell may have cilia on its major portion, right? The flagella, they are present only at one pole of the cell. One pole of the cell. Flagella are not found all around the cell. Flagella are usually restricted to one pole of the cell. In contrast to that, cilia are present all around the cell, or they may be present on major portion of the cell, right? These cilia, they show synchronous. They show synchronous or metachronous beats. Cilia show synchronous or metachronous beats. So what is a synchronous beat? When all the cilia of a row, when all the cilium of a row beat together, that beating is known as, that movement is known as synchronous beat. Suppose these are the cilia of a row, single row, right? If all the cilia beat together, if all the cilia beat together, right? This beating of cilia, this beating of all the cilia together, this is known as a synchronous beat. This is known as a synchronous beat. What is then metachronous beat? If the cilia of a row beat individually, one after another, that is known as metachronous beat. Suppose like this. Suppose like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So they follow each other. That beat is known as a metachronous beat. So cilia, they show synchronous beats. If all the cilia of a row beat together, that is known as a synchronous beat. If the cilia of a row beat individually, one after another, that is known as metachronous beat. So cilia may show synchronous beating or metachronous beating. What about flagella? Flagella are independent of each other. They are independent of each other. The flagella, they do not coordinate with each other. They are independent. They show independent movements. So flagella do not show synchronous or metachronous beats. Flagella, they move independently, right? So these are some differences between cilia and flagella. Then these cilia, they also show rowing motion. Cilia show rowing motion. What is rowing motion? They show rowing, like the rowing of a boat, right? So first they generate a power stroke. When they generate a power stroke, at that time they act as a stiff rod. So when they generate a power stroke, they act as a stiff rod, right? So this is the power stroke. So when cilia generate a power stroke, they act as a stiff rod. So they push against the water, and water generates equal and opposite force. So propelling the cell, right? But at the time of recovery stroke, at the time of recovery stroke, this cilium, it behaves as a flexible rod. It behaves as a flexible rod. It behaves as a flexible rod. So this power stroke and recovery stroke, it resembles with the rowing of a boat. So when we row a boat, we propel the boat by the help of an oar. So we immerse the oar in the water and we push against the water. We push against the water. So when we push against the water, that stroke is known as power stroke. So when we push against the water, water generates equal and opposite force. It propels the boat forwards. Then we slowly make a recovery stroke. We slowly take the oar out of the water and again generate a power stroke, right? So this motion, this power stroke and recovery stroke, it is known as a rowing motion, right? So this is used for propelling the cell in aquatic medium, right? So these cilia, they show rowing motion. So they show a power stroke and a recovery stroke. Flagella, they do not show these rowing motions. Flagella are independent of each other. They show undulatory motion. Flagella show undulatory movement. Flagella show undulatory movement. Each flagellum is thrown into a series of waves, producing a trough and a crust. Each flagellum is thrown into a series of waves. So these troughs and crusts, they push against the water and they propel the cell, right? They propel the cell. So these are some differences between cilia and flagella. These are some differences between cilia and flagella. So what is the first difference between cilia and flagella? The first difference between cilia and flagella is that cilia are short. They are just 2 to 20 microns long. Flagella are longer. They measure 10 to 200 microns in length. Cilia, their number is enormous. They are present on the cell in larger numbers. There may be some 30 to 14,000 cilia per cell. In contrast to it, the number of flagella per cell is limited. There may be just 1 to 4 flagella per eukaryotic cell, right? Cilia are present all over the cell, as in case of paramecium. Cilia may be present all over the cell, as in case of paramecium. Or they may be present on major portion of the cell, or they can be present on major portion of the cell only, right? While as flagella, they are located at one pole of the cell only. Flagella are not scattered all over the cell. Flagella, when present in larger numbers, they are located only at one pole of the cell. Cilia show synchronous beats or metachronous beats. Cilia show synchronous beats or metachronous beats. So when all the cilium of a row beat together as a unit, that movement is known as synchronous beat, right? When all the cilia of a row beat together, that is known as a synchronous beat. And what is metachronous beat? If the cilia of a row, they beat one after another, right? That beating is known as a metachronous beat, right? That is known as a metachronous beat, right? So cilia show synchronous beats or metachronous beats. What about flagella? Flagella, they are independent of each other. They do not show control and coordination, right? They beat independently. Cilia show rowing motion. When cilium makes a movement, it generates a power stroke. In the power stroke, it behaves as a stiff rod. And in the recovery stroke, it behaves as a flexible rod. So this power stroke and recovery stroke, it is known as a rowing motion. What about flagella? Flagella, they show undulatory movements. Each flagellum is thrown into a series of waves, right? So this throwing of flagellum into a series of waves, this is known as undulatory movement, right? Then what is the function of these cilia and flagella? Can you tell me what is the function of cilia and flagella? Cilia may be used for locomotion. Cilia are used as a locomotory organ. For example, in case of this paramecium, in case of ciliated protozoan, cilia are used for locomotion, right? Cilia are also used for transport of material. Transport of material. What materials do cilia transport? You may have heard about transport of ovum. Transport of ovum from infundibulum. From infundibulum of fallopian tube. Fallopian tube to uterus. Human ovum is non-motile. Human ovum is non-motile. So how this human ovum is carried from ovary to uterus? So ovary releases this ovum into infundibulum of fallopian tube. Hello, don't make side talks. Ovary releases the ovum into the infundibulum of fallopian tube. When the ovum reaches into the infundibulum of fallopian tube, the lumen of fallopian tube is lined with ciliated columnar epithelium. The cilia of the ciliated columnar epithelium, they beat vigorously, and by their beats, they carry this ovum. They carry this ovum from infundibulum to uterus, right? So they are involved in the transport of ovum from infundibulum to uterus, right? That is another function of the cilia. Then there is another function of the cilia, that is transport of phloem. Transport of phloem. You know, our respiratory tract is lined by pseudostratified columnar pseudostratified ciliated epithelium. That pseudostratified ciliated epithelium of our respiratory tract produces mucus continuously. The function of that mucus is to trap the dust particles and pathogens which enter there through inhaled air. So when we inhale air, we are also inhaling some dust particles and some pathogens. So mucus of our respiratory tract, it traps those dust particles and the pathogens. Then this dust-laden mucus, it is removed from respiratory tract by the help of our ciliated epithelium. In our respiratory tract, there is pseudostratified ciliated epithelium. So the cilia beat, they propel this dust-laden mucus towards the larynx. When it reaches to the larynx, it causes some irritation and a cough reflex is generated. And by that cough reflex, we spit it out in the form of phlegm. So what is phlegm? So phlegm, इसको हम उर्दू में बलगम बोलते हैं. Phlegm is dust-laden mucus, which is removed from our respiratory tract. So what removes this phlegm from the respiratory tract? It is produced by the pseudostratified ciliated epithelium of the respiratory tract. Then the cilia beat and they carry this dust-laden mucus towards the larynx, wherefrom it is spitted out in the form of phlegm, right? So that is another function of this cilia. So cilia is involved in locomotion. It is involved in transport of materials like transport of foam, like transport of phlegm. It also helps in. It is also present in some parts of nephron. Some parts of nephron. Cilia are also found in some parts of nephron, where they propel glomerular filtrate. Glomerular filtrate. Cilia, they are present in some parts of nephron. Cilia are also present in some parts of nephron. What is their function? The function of those cilia is to the function of these cilia is to propel this glomerular filtrate. So it carries the glomerular filtrate along the nephron so that urine is formed, right? So these are some functions of cilia. So cilia are involved in locomotion. Cilia are involved in transport of materials like transport of ovum from ovary to uterus. They are also involved in transport of phlegm, this dust-laden mucus which is taken out from our respiratory system, that is taken out by the help of cilia. And they are also present in some parts of nephron while they are involved in propelling. They are involved in movement of glomerular filtrate. So this is the function of cilia. Then what is the function of flagella? We are comparing cilia and flagella. Tomorrow you will be asked to differentiate between cilia and flagella. At that time, you will say, we don't know what he was teaching. As you were just saying. You are not interested in teaching, learning. So that is why you are saying like this. So what is the function of flagella? As you know, flagella, they are present in flagellated protozoans. For example, in Euglena, they serve there as locomotory organ. Locomotory organelle. So the first function of flagella in flagellated protozoan is to serve as locomotory organelles. They help the cells to move in water, right? In addition to that, flagella are also found in some poriferan. They are also found in some cnidarians. Some poriferan cells and some cnidarian cells. They also possess flagella. You know, in porifera, there are conocytes. In poriferans, there are conocytes. These conocytes, they are flagellated collar cells. They are flagellated collar cells. This is a conocyte. Similarly, in cnidarians, there are flagellated gastrodermal cells. In cnidarians, there are some gastrodermal cells which are having flagellae. So this is a flagellated. gastrodermal cell. So what is the function of this flagella in these conocytes of poriferans and in gastrodermal cells, in gastrodermal nutritive muscular cells? We also call them as nutritive muscular cells. Nutritive muscular cells of cnidarians. They possess flagella. Conocytes of poriferans. They possess flagella. What is the function of these flagella in there? In them. So these flagella, they beat vigorously in these poriferans and cnidarians to generate a water current. To generate a water current. So when a water current is generated, it makes the water to flow throughout the body of these cnidarians and poriferans. So this flow of water through the body wall, it brings in food particles, which helps these conocytes and nutritive muscular cells to take up the food particles for nutrition. So it helps them in nutrition. So flagella, they may be involved in locomotion or they may be involved in the process of nutrition. They generate a water current and water current brings in food particles and those food particles, they are taken up by these poriferans and cnidarians as food. So I think this is sufficient for today. Thank you for being with me. No Nishans.